Hello YouTube, the Type 0 antagonist, which I guess is spoilers, along with his outfit, is coming back with a BT Plus, and it has a lot going for it, and I'm here to talk about it. He's also voiced by Captain Levi, and he has two swords. Coincidence? I think not. Weave stuff out the way. Before you pull on Machina, I'll go over his kit, give you some things to think about before you use your limited resources. If you're new to the channel, I play both JP and Global, and I use that experience and knowledge to help inform others. I keep it concise because I don't like wasting your time, and I know nobody likes sitting through long videos. Let me know what you guys think about the banner and the event in the comments. Want to hear what you got to say, and while you're here, subscribe, like the video. You can subscribe for $1. I always reply to your comments and you get some emotes. Hit the bell, check out the Ranting Hour playlist. It's my weekly stream where I talk about a bunch of stuff. It's pretty informative. Quickly before we get going, I mentioned earlier, let to know if you all preferred that I split the videos up or I combine them all into one. People said that they prefer them split up. People going out of their way to tell me that they prefer to split up is a lot more telling. So if you feel strongly about it, please voice your opinion. Otherwise, I'm going to keep splitting these videos up. This video is 1 out of 3. Machina's here, then I got to do Paine, and then I got to cope over Totto. I was thinking forward to 90 and Divine Ifrit, and I want to do an Ultimate Weapon video and a 90 video too as well. And when Ifrit comes, I want to do separate videos on Noel, Sid, Sarah, and Onion Knight. Quick 8 to 10 minute evals reviews so you can pick and choose what you want. This game isn't that complicated. It shouldn't take a half hour to explain stuff. I can barely watch my own videos in 2x speed, so I'm trying to help y'all out. Anyways, this is taking way too long. Let's actually talk about Machina's kit. He is a melee damage dealer that has a follow-up based on his debuff that he gets from his LD. He spams his HP plus and gets free turns and high turn rate. Most of that cool stuff in his kit kind of gets thrown out the window for a while when he gets his BT plus, so I'm not going to spend much time on it. So skill 1, Awakening, his buff skill. It doesn't take up a turn, and it got a Brave Gain and 2 more hits. Machina's special HP attack, Furious Blades, and the plus version both got upgraded. The regular one is a Brave Gain into a double HP attack, and if you're attacking a broken target or you break someone, you get instant turn rates. You get to act immediately after. Breaking a target or hitting a broken target satisfies the condition to get the plus version of Furious Blades. You also get the plus version from using skill 1, by the way. It's the same Brave Gain into double HP attack. This is all single target, by the way, but the plus version has a refund in the middle based on how much damage the first Brave plus HP did. So his damage should be a little higher and his high turn rate on it, so he'll probably jump in turns. This is a free turn, it goes back to the normal HP attack afterwards, and now it charges his ZX like a skill would. It also extends all of his buffs by 1 turn, so he can just keep going like it was nothing. So in practice, you'll use regular Furious Blades, you'll get instant turn rate, and then you'll Furious Blades plus for the free turn. And assuming he's doing his LD follow-up because his debuff is up, this will be 4 single target HP attacks and 2 AoE split HP attacks. All at the cost of 2 actions and 1 turn. I took all that time to explain that, and you're barely going to be pressing those buttons anyways. Just great. Skill 2, which is largely filler, it now does instant break single target, and it's a Brave Gain into a double HP attack with splash. It now refunds harder after as well. He'll probably be full on Brave after this. In practice, you probably will never press this move either, but it's nice to have the utility because he needs those broken targets. So if you want to set him up nicely and get rid of a Brave Gain, there you go. The real juice came with his LD board rework. The debuff Machina applies is now extended to 6 turns instead of 4, and his LD buff gets a bunch of offensive stats for Machina, the usual Brave HP whatever. Just know it massively ups his damage. The huge upgrade is that his LD debuff now acts as a trap, I think. I don't know what it's technically called, but every time an enemy acts and they have Machina's LD debuff on them, Machina will do his follow-up after their turn. So now he's just an off-turn damage dealer. I'm a little mad at myself for taking so much time to explain this other nonsense, but here's what you've all been waiting for, the BT. I remember when this got revealed, priceless. The effect is pretty nifty, it's a stacking buff, and it goes up every time Machina does an attack. Please note that is not act, it is to do damage. So if he does his counter or his off-turn trap follow-up thingy, this will increase the stacks of the BT effect without him having to take a turn. So at 3 stacks, he gets all these party buffs. HP damage up 30%, HP cap up 30%, oh. And assuming he's green, he gets 45% stolen and gained overflows. Those are all nice, but what he's really known for is the HP attack he gets. This thing is nuts. He does a Brave Gain into a double Brave plus HP attack 7 times. He also gets a Brave refund in the middle of these attacks. He extends all his buffs by 1 when he does this, and then delays himself, kind of like Sync. This is great to help him keep up his BT effect, and he can also attack in the off turn as well. When this BT effect is up, just don't press his skills. The beauty of it though is that you can BT finisher, use the HP attack once outside of the burst phase, let him build his stacks up fully, and then you can go into the BT phase and not have to suffer the penalty of the self delay. He actually has 8 HP attacks in practice because he will do his LD follow up afterwards, assuming nothing went horribly wrong. This gives him an insane damage ceiling. And he's the first entry in what I call the million trio, because he can kind of sneeze out 1,000,000 damage on these HP attacks without much effort. And even after going nuts in his BT phase and doing all that damage, you still have 8 more turns of the HP plus outside of the BT phase. And if the bosses aren't gone by then, I don't know what to tell you. His high armor plus leans in the Brave attack split, which is a real thinker because he works so well with Brave gains and maximizing his HP damage, but whatever. He does have few Brave hits before his HP attack, so whatever. His calls are nothing special anymore. They were more relevant when we didn't have good Brave damage boost, but now, With all that out the way, let's move on to my analysis. Machina's strengths are his damage. 7 single target HP attacks, and then a split 8 HP attack afterwards is an insane damage ceiling, and if you can cap all those, let's say you brought him some decent support and his HP cap is at like 170k. If he caps all those HP attacks and has enough overflow to cap the split, that's 1.5 million damage right there. And he can just keep doing it within his BT phase. He's got 16 of those in total. Bosses should be dead by then, or close to dead. If you got like a Reigns call on Machina, or you got Selfie in the party and you're doing like a full team launch, after that the damage potential goes even higher. Party HP cap up on a damage dealer is very nice. Y'all know I love that buff. And now Machina joining the off turn damage ranks because his LD triggers that trap attack. They gave him a lot of love. I don't know what else I can say besides big damage. His weaknesses are that he's hilariously mediocre without his BT effect, and I'm going to repeat this again at the end of the video, but if you're not planning on greening Machina, don't invest in him at all. Not worth it in the slightest. Machina is also C80, and while he will be able to keep up with C90 units, he does need support to get there, which is not a huge ask ultimately, but it is a con to note. If the targets he's attacking are not broken, that is a huge damage loss for him because he loses like 40% Brave damage. So if they're like regenning all the time after their turns or something, I don't know how that would work, but it wouldn't be pretty. But honestly, it's far and few in between, and not terribly difficult to work around. Him delaying himself can be problematic if you can't protect him appropriately. It's a pro and a con, honestly, because you could put a very good call effect on him that lasts a while and keep it up even longer, but at the same time, you kind of lose control over him. And like most damage dealers, he lives and dies by his supports. But thankfully, his damage is easy enough to amp where it's not that restrictive. Potential teams. Machina likes Brave gains and HP cap up, and HP damage up. This is because, kind of similar to Zac, if he refunds hard enough on his HP attacks, he can cap every HP attack every time and not really have to worry about his Brave damage, which is why it's kind of a question mark that they gave him the Brave cap up armor. You can also go that route, increasing his Brave damage so he can cap his HP attacks, don't get me wrong, but I found the Brave gain approach to be much easier. So units like Paine, who he's featured with, Tola BT+, Selfie is a notable one that helps Machina. One for the Brave gain she gives and the HP damage up, but two because if you time Machina's BT phase correctly, Selfie's LD debuff will stick and he'll launch after every attack. The party will get refund and Brave gains in midair, and you can get a really nasty BT phase off. And you won't need Reigns call to do that. Maria provides the Brave gain up and HP damage up. Porm is a decent option, but she's not providing the HP damage up, which he'd like to hit his HP caps, but she is providing the HP cap. You could also go the Brave damage route, maybe with like Saz, Kate Sith, and Party, or as calls. You just want to make him strong enough so he can cap his HP attacks, because then you're gold. Bartz would fit the bill too, I guess. Or using Orin as a main party member, throwing down his debuff and then swapping him out. I don't think there's any future fights that Machina particularly helps in, but he kind of just blows things up, and that's a good enough feature to have. What are my plans? I'm going to talk about this more in the Paine video, but I want Paine, so if I get Machina BT along the way, because I already got his LD, that'd be awesome. I think I do want to invest in him, but I'm going to let the free polls in the cycle play out, and then if I don't get him by then, I'll probably just token, because I got a bunch of BT tokens. I'll go into this more in the before you poll section, but I'm not interested in going for Noel this time around, because I'm waiting for his upgrade in JP, and I enjoyed him enough throughout the period that I want to invest in someone different. I've said multiple times that I invested in Machina, Noel, and Locke, but I ended up only using Noel because I wanted to, and I felt using most of them together was overkill and I wanted to run other stuff, etc. So I think Machina will be the one for me this time, honestly. He's fun. Machina plus Maria, you gotta love it. So for the fight, it's 2 Elvarets. It's the thing that I thought was Vincent's LD ultimately. And the orb is +6 if you extend a buff with a max of 8 on the count. There's an insane amount of people who extend their own buffs, and the list is too long. You can check Compendium for it. But Machina does this on his HP attacks, including the burst one. So there's that, Yuna, Saz, Hope, Call, Aiko, they're all buff extenders in your pocket potentially. For you degenerate Ida Rothers, Ida can hit this orb on her own because she extends her own buffs on her HP+. The boss opens with an all attack and it gives itself a frame buff. This all attack can kill you if you let them get off back to back without mitigation, so watch out for that. And the frame buff, it gives them HP damage up, attack up, and debuff evasion, so you can't land debuffs. That's pretty annoying. That's where Paine comes in to dispel it. It also gives us defense down, and brave down, and I brave down. So if you dispel that buff and you can mitigate their stuff, you're good. Nothing really notable about that fight otherwise. As long as you can get rid of that buff they have, I think you're probably good. We have dispel calls, we have dispellers. And if you no-turn them, you just need to worry about hitting the orb with the buff extend. But otherwise, yeah, cake. In JP, I ran Machina, Paine, and Yuna for a bootleg Yuna, Paine. Oh, where's Riku? And I realized that I could just kill it really fast with Machina, so it ended quickly once I got the hang of it. Just be sure to dispel that buff. In GL, surprise, I want to run Maria, Paine, probably some dispels. If not Yuffie, I mean, I'm probably going to get Paine, probably just going to run her there. So yeah, good fun. So to bring it all together, before you pull for Machina BT+, I want to throw this out there now. If you have an interest in Locke or Null, I think you should skip Machina, as greening 2 or more of them in my experience was complete overkill and I wanted to run other things. They both play differently, but they do about the same amount of damage with the right setup, and having that much damage is redundant. I'm not saying invest in one of those 3, I'm saying if you plan on investing in one of those 3, you should likely keep it at 1. Keeping that in mind, I believe that Machina ages the best out of all the 3, Machina, Null, and Locke. I always emphasize that it's better to play in the now and not play for the future 8 months from now, but Machina is currently killing it in the Shinryu era because of his late C90. This is not his peak. So if you green Machina now, you've got a great unit here that gets even better. That being said, this might all change if JP gets BT boards or something, or Null and Locke get FRs early on, or some kind of rework or Crystal 100, whatever they're going to do. This current judgment might change. So in general, if you're not going to get Machina as BT and not going to green it, don't go for him at all. He's hilariously underwhelming as LD damage only. This banner overall is great, Paine is awesome, and if you want to go all the way on Machina, you won't be disappointed. Just make sure you can support him to get the most mileage out of him. Brave gain up, which Paine provides, and HP damage up via calls, HP caps, BT effects, etc. If you're a blue selfie haver, they pair very well. Ishtola too, and even if you don't have the Brave gain buffers, you got Paine on the banner, or you could just go the other route of buffing his Brave and HP damage as long as you cap those HP attacks. On the other hand, if you're good on damage, say you got Jekt for example, Jekt can go fine into C90, then you can probably just skip Machina and not really care. Machina absolutely outdamages Jekt on average, but that doesn't mean Jekt isn't enough to get you through content. So ultimately, I'd recommend Machina if you are lacking in damage dealers, and these points are not mutually exclusive. If you're lacking in damage dealers, you have Brave gain up units, and you're not already planning for Locke or Null. But if you're ready to buff his damage appropriately, you could potentially run him until he gets to C90. He's that powerful. And it's worth repeating again, I saw someone on Discord get confused from my earlier video. You don't need any of the million trio. Just from my personal experience, if you invest in 2 or more of them, it will be complete overkill and you might not end up using them. If you do decide you want to get Machina, and let's say you get his and Paine's LD early, and you want that BT but don't have enough tokens or don't want to token it, if you're lacking in tanks, I'd say get the BT on Snow's LD, otherwise go for it on Ursula. That's all I got though. This video went way too long. Paine and Totto videos coming later, probably Thursday US, because I got to do Ranting Hour tonight. Let me know what you guys think, the unit, the fight, what you thought about my advice, splitting the videos up, etc. Always looking for feedback, always talking to y'all. Like the video if you ain't already, hit the bell, subscribe, check out the Ranting Hour, and I'll catch y'all later. Peace.